Hey, how you doing? I wanted to talk about a topic that is in the top 5 of the list of things that piss men off about women, or that at the very least frustrate them, and that is the female automated response, nothing, when you ask them what's wrong. I do have a huge level of sympathy from guys when it comes to relationships, because it always seems like the woman always has the upper hand, and it's not really fair. So to help you guys out, I've made myself a couple of little notes about this topic, as I have tried my damnedest. When I figured out that it was an automated response, I have been trying for the last 2 years to stop myself from doing it. Sometimes it's really, really, really hard. But I also want you to keep in mind, I'm just one person. I'm just one individual female with the knowledge that I've gained as a experience since I've found out that this shit is very automated, hardwired. So, but it is controllable. So I can't attest to what your woman's gonna do or what your significant other is gonna do as a response. I can only give you my experience, and I'm not a trained professional by any means. So take advice at your own risk. Don't believe everything that you hear. Investigate, do the study, do the brain work yourself. Alright? So, here we go. Made myself some notes. Alright, first of all, it is automated. It's not, there's a huge percentage of women out there that are doing this, if not all of us. So, but it can be controlled once she's aware that she's doing it. Once she's aware that it's automated, and every time you ask her what's wrong, it's just right there, nothing. She can, once she's aware that it's there, she can combat that. In her spare time, she can think, what can I do to keep myself from doing that? Well, I'm not even gonna go into what I do about it, but the key is to be aware that she needs to be aware that it is an automated response if you're the type of guy that has this problem. Okay, let's see. Number 1, it's not always about you, okay? And it's not always about you. And I know, as guys, you guys are on top of that shit. You're asking what's wrong because basically you don't want to be the issue. You don't want to be the reason why she's mad or upset or concerned. You don't want to be that issue, and you're probably asking because you want to make sure that it's not you. And a lot of the times I find that it's not about my boyfriend. It's not about him. It's about my online game, or the guild that I'm in, or my college, or something personal with me. It could have been a dream I had that night, or I could just be hormonal. Okay? It doesn't always have to be about him. Usually if it's about him, I'll either tell him, or when he asks me, he's gonna have a harder time getting it out of me than if it wasn't about him. Because like I said, I still come up with the nothing response quite often. So just remember that. And as a tip, and I'll repeat this later, as a tip, if it were about you, don't you think she would already told you? If it were very important and she gives 2 shits about your relationship, she would have already addressed it. You would have already been there, discussed it, or argued about it. So keep that in mind too. Number 2, it's a lot of times guys, we don't always keep, as women, we don't always, or girls, whatever you want to call them, we don't always keep in mind that if you didn't care, you wouldn't be asking. We don't always keep that in mind. So if my problem is insignificant to me, then yeah, I'm going to say nothing. I try not to, because obviously if he wasn't concerned, he wouldn't be asking me. So most of the time when it's not about him, he asks me what's wrong, I'll be like, the first thing that comes to my mind is nothing, but then I stop myself and think, what is wrong with me? And if I'm not quite sure, then I'll say, you know what, actually I don't even know what's wrong with me, but when I figure it out, I will let you know. Just give me a couple seconds. And sorry, my nose is itching really bad. So yeah, it's not always important to her. And if it's not that important to her, she would rather figure it out herself than have you help her with it. Which leads me to my next tip. Number 3, don't always assume that she wants you to fix her. Fix. I know guys are just natural problem solvers. That's what you do all day long. A lot of you, and you come home, you see something wrong, you naturally want to fix it. But If the problem isn't with you, then more than likely all we want you to do is listen. That's all that's required. 5 or 10 minutes out of your day and we're good. Okay, until the next problem comes 10 minutes later. Let's see. We'll go on. We'll go ahead and go to the next one. It's if she wanted to talk about it, she would. Of course, I'm just reiterating what I said before. You know, if it was important enough to her that she felt like she needed to talk to you about it, she would. It was not that big of a deal. Let's see. And that's another thing. She doesn't need to be fixed issue should be a real. It's something that you should take comfort in, to know that not every one of your woman's problems has to do with you. Okay, if you're in a good, solid relationship where the communication is good, then you're not going to have a whole lot of problems to start with. And this might be one of the minimal, just naggy little things that women do, and that's one way of, I'm just giving you some information and some insight into the issue so that you can try and go around it, so to speak. So just to recap, understand that shit is automated. It's hardwired. It just comes out, man. It does, and it's hard to control. Believe me, I've been doing this shit for 2 years now. But number one, it's not always about you. All right. Number two, it might only be important to you. Okay. And number three, don't just assume that she needs you to fix her. Okay. Don't do that. And number four, if she wanted to talk about it, she would have already done it. So I'm hoping that this helped. Oh, by the way, you're probably wondering, well, if it's automated, what the fuck am I supposed to do? If it's hardwired, how the hell am I going to go around that? If she's not aware that that it is, and it's just going to fly out of her mouth every time I ask, how the fuck am I supposed to get her a correct answer, an accurate answer? Well, that's actually an entirely different video, but I'll try and touch up on it for a second. You could try this. If she's not crying or bawling, obviously, if she's crying or bawling, she's telling you nothing's wrong. That's bullshit, and you have probably your own little tactic to work out there. You hold her, you tell her everything's going to be okay, you let her calm down, she tells you what's wrong. Alright, that's the way it should pan out anyway. But if she's just sending you weird signals and she's looking confused or, bugged about something, then you ask her what's wrong. She's going to give you nothing. And then you can say, you know what, rather than me sit here for the next 10 minutes bugging you about what's wrong, I'm just going to let you know right off the bat, I'm not a mind reader. I'm not trying to piss you off, I'm just laying it out here for you. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not supposed to be a mind reader, and it is completely unreasonable for you to think that I'm a mind reader or expect me to be one. So if you could just bypass the female automated nothing response and get straight to the issue, it doesn't matter how insignificant it is to you. If I care about you, I'm asking you what's wrong, I really wish you would tell me. And we could just bypass all the bullshit. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and do my own thing and you can sit there bugged. Don't accept the nothing response, okay? If you know your woman well enough, hopefully you know when she absolutely does not want to talk about it, okay? Like I said, a lot of this has to do with individuality, how well you know the person that we're talking, the significant other, how well you know that person and how in tune you are plays a huge, huge role. So, kind of use that with this, hope that it helps. Okay, thanks for watching. See you later.